Hello, wallspaghettis. It's TMI Tuesday. What are you most afraid of? I really, really hate robots, like sentient robots. I'm convinced that they are eventually going to take over the world. Also, like pretty much any being that is has conscious thought, but then doesn't have a conscience or morals. So this actually applies to Cybermen and Daleks too, which is part of why Doctor Who is so inherently terrifying for me. Although both of those enemies are so ridiculous that it kind of takes some of the fear out of it. Do you have any weird attractions or fetishes? I love that we get these questions. So I find androgyny really attractive generally, which is actually a fairly common thing, but I can't entirely explain to you why, so I guess it's weird to me. Also, I tend to be really, really attracted to talented people. Like Lauren was talking about how she's attracted to musically talented people. That's me. Or if you're good at like writing or drawing or music or pretty much any creative pursuit whatsoever, I will find you about 10 times more attractive than I would otherwise. Do you have any favorite quotes? Okay, so most of my favorite quotes are actually song lyrics, and I tend to post those on a fairly regular basis, and I actually am really bad at saving quotes that I like, but I do have a few. I really like the quote by John Green, "The truth resists simplicity." It tries to simplify oversimplification. I really love John Green. I also like a quote from Kalia Yang, which I do have these written down, unfortunately. I can't rattle them off the top of my head. I want to bubble over the top and douse the confusing fire that burned in my belly, or else I wanted to turn the stove off. I wanted to sit cool on the burners of life, lid on and steady. As a kind of a side note, if you've never seen Kalia Yang speak, I fully encourage you to go on YouTube and look at her, or even better, if you can Google it and find out if she is speaking somewhere near you at some point in the near future, go. She is absolutely one of the best speakers I have ever seen, and she moves me to tears on a regular basis because she is so incredibly pure and powerful a speaker. When did you first figure out your sexual orientation? Okay, so this is actually a really funny story from my life. So the first time I actually wrote the phrase, like, I think I might be bisexual, was when I was 9 years old, and it was in reaction to watching The Lord of the Rings and seeing Liv Tyler play Arwen. It's so nerdy. Um, but it's true, that's kind of where it first came from. But then I managed to, like, shove that under because I was aware enough of the fact that that was not okay according to my religious beliefs. So I had kind of a second epiphany when I was 11 years old, and I had a crush on one of my best friends that I might be bisexual, which I again wrote in my diary. As though it were a completely new revelation. I'd completely forgotten that I'd had the same thought when I was 9 years old. And again, I managed to shove it under the carpet because the friend then moved away, and I was like, oh, it's just a fluke, I'm just gonna forget about it, it didn't happen. And then I got into 7th grade with public school, and I again got a crush on one of my closest friends, except I didn't recognize it as a crush at the time. I wanted to, like, hold her hand all of the time, and I got really, really nervous when I had to, like, sleep over at her house. I was super nice to her and bought her stuff, but I never recognized that I had a crush on her, except in retrospect. And then I got to 8th grade, and it happened again with me having a crush on one of my good friends. Except finally, at the end of 8th grade, like, the little ball pinged into place, and I was like, holy shit, I'm bi. Wow. I completely freaked out, as though this were an idea that had absolutely never occurred to me before. And it actually wasn't until I went back and I reread all of my journals from my childhood years. Like, I had, like, 3 or 4 separate realizations of my sexuality. So what are the perks of being a wall spaghetti? Well, have you seen the other people doing these video blogs? Like, association with them, that would probably be the biggest perk right there. There's also the fact, though, that you get to appreciate really good literature and pasta. Would you have sex with a bandana on? Sure! Bandanas are pretty sexy. Okay, so those were interesting questions. I will see you guys someday.